Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our Saturday Live. We're here with Regina Lutzinger as well as Corey Hampson, and I'm so excited to get started on this amazing Zoom that we have for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're just going to run through some housekeeping rules and then we'll get to the good stuff. So as you guys know, if you're not able to watch this live, we do recordings that we post on our YouTube channel every Saturday, so you're able to watch any of our videos. So feel free to hop on there and enjoy those videos. Save the date. So we did set a date for our amazing Sarasota show. So that will be February 1st through the 4th. We will be getting more details, more information once those details are solidified. So keep on our newsletters, and we hope to see you there at our Glass Coast weekend. If you are in the Metro Detroit area, we still are displaying this amazing Synergy exhibition by Zora Palova and Stefan Pala. It will be remaining here until we change over for our next exhibition, which I will be talking about, which is this. It's called the Gorgeous Glass. And what we're doing is on Sunday, October 22nd from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. We'll be having local glass artists who will be making these amazing glass pumpkins, and we're going to have a gorgeous pumpkin patch. So if you're in the area and if you know anyone who's in the area, please come and see this amazing display of glass pumpkins. And for another fun bit that we're hosting, it's also a Halloween dress up event. So if you're able to wear a costume, please come on down, and the person with the best costume, I believe, will win a glass pumpkin. So put that on your calendar, and I hope to see you there. We're also going to be doing a super amazing exhibition here for Susan Taylor Glasgow, a new exhibition that will be called Let's Fall in Love. It will be a masquerade exhibition, so another fun event that we're hosting, and that will be on November 18th, 2019, around 6 p.m. So I hope you...
2019?
2023.
2023, yeah. That was 2 years ago. So anyways, RSVP online, and of course we'll have more details, more pieces that we'll be sharing as well from her exhibition, but I hope you all can make it. So here we go. Corey, take it away. Let's talk about Bertil.
Let's talk a little bit about the myth, the man, the legend. I am Corey Hampson. I'm co-owner of Habitat Galleries here in Michigan, and I want to tell you about one of my inspirations in life is artist Bertil Vallien. In fact, when you go to Sweden, they say Bertil because that's how they pronounce Bertil. Bertil Vallien. So I've been butchering his name for the last 25 years of my career, but Bertil Vallien is an outstanding, incredible artist, and let's dive a little bit into who the man is. We need to mute some people, Aaron or Regina.
Read it. We're good.
Okay. Oh,
We're all set.
am I moving too fast here? I missed some slides. Regina, can you go back? I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't see what I'm doing. Okay.
Hold on. You're good.
There you go. Okay, so the big promotion, the big excitement is Bertil's coming here to the United States for probably the last time. He's 85 years old. He doesn't want to travel as much, and he's doing a glass blowing demonstration at the Corning Museum. He also put together an exhibition that should be coming out in which we're trying to promote. Unfortunately, just a couple days ago, they lost the space to have the exhibition in, so it's going to be postponed. However, in this Zoom, we're going to show you all the work for the very first time that's going to be in this exhibition. It's all available for sale, but you're getting the VIP preview of an exhibition that isn't even doesn't even have a date anymore. So it's kind of exciting. It should be opening up in November. They're saying maybe December, but this is representing 65 years of being with Kosta Boda, which is Kosta Boda is one of the oldest and largest glass production companies in the world. It started in 1742 in the middle of nowhere. So you have to literally fly into Copenhagen and drive 3 hours, or fly to Vaxio, which is also in the middle of nowhere. And what do you see when you're driving from Copenhagen all the way to Kosta Boda? You see trees. You might see a barn, occasionally a moose. There's literally nothing there. And then all of a sudden you approach this entire village where they create glass, and there's about 600 employees. They all live in the area. They all know each other. They all go to the same bar together afterwards to watch soccer on TV. And it's just this really wonderful, warm community. Also, they've got this glass hotel, this huge hotel where it's the Bertil Vallien Hotel. He had designed the entire interior. So when you walk in, you're walking through part of this wonderful art hotel. In fact, it's called the Art Hotel. And then Shell Engman, another designer for Kosta Boda, did the bar. Really, I took some images of that, which is kind of interesting. And it's really this magical experience. So on the second week of December, I plan on taking a group there. And if somebody is interested in that, I've gone 5-6 times. I absolutely think it's like, there's nothing like it in the world. I mean, you could visit Corning, you could visit Habitat, you could visit, you can come to one of our events, you can do all these, any museum, but you're never going to experience an entire village that creates glass. So they absorbed a company called Oraforge, which also created glass, and their bread and butter is really wine glasses, which is kind of interesting. They have a small art department, which is like 100,000 square feet, which Bertil Vallien considers his playground. And that's where he makes his molds and creates different ideas, drawings. He has a whole room of just drawings, ideas. He has a conference room that he discusses with his staff. He has a room just for painting work. I mean, it's taken over this entire factory, which is amazing. And then, of course, like I said, those wine glasses. When I was there, I found something really interesting. IKEA, which is also a
Hello?
pipe, not the case. Libby, not the case. They've imported these giant machines that literally produce wine glasses. It's crazy. So they're one of the few still around, still making hand-blown objects. Another interesting fact is that 1 out of every 4 households, so there's 7 million households in Sweden, has a piece of Kosta Boda. Something, a plate, an image, something of Kosta Boda, which is, that's quite incredible. They've taken over the entire country. They just have not taken over the entire world yet. So this is a couple glimpses. These are images from my cell phone. I took 5,000 pictures when I was there for the last 5 times. 5,000 pictures. I mean, I must have had this camera in my hand, but I typed in Sweden and all of a sudden it populated. And I said, oh my God, I cannot believe how many images I took. But I was inspired everywhere you go. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And what is that? I mean, into the mind of Bertil, into the mind of this artist is, I mean, look at this on his table. It's just one table just for creating these sand molds. And he's there brushing them and cutting them and using textures and figuring out what kind of design he wants. And, and then I saw some of these in the work. It was like, wow, really kind of fascinating. Because at that time prior, I had no idea. I had no idea. I'm going to go see an artist in his home. No, not the case. You're going to see an artist in this giant studio, probably one of the largest studios of any artist. It's like maybe Jeff Koons' studio. It could be this size. I don't know, but it's enormous, and he's utilized everything. So these are just some images I took of some of the molds. some of the boat forms where you press in the wood into the sand. And I thought that that was kind of an important thing to see, but really kind of cool, all these different shapes. And they've been there for years. So he'll pick and choose what he wants to do. And, and sometimes a piece will be sitting, around for, I don't know, 20 years before he wants to rework it or remake it or incorporate it in something that he's doing or an idea that he's having. There's things that were collecting dust there that I saw that I was like, oh my God, this is like the most spectacular piece in the world. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, this, really? And I'm like, yeah, why don't you pull that out? He's like, it's not finished. Mentally, it was not finished for him. It was an unfinished piece. And until he signs it, it's completely unfinished. Now, what is the difference between the production work and the unique work? He signs every one of them unique. And before 1990, it was unique spelled UNIK. So if you want to see the difference between the two, it's very easy. There's a code on every piece, tells you exactly where he made it. Most of them are made in Kosta Boda, but occasionally he would travel, to the Museum of Glass and make a piece. So he'd sign MOG. Or he would go to Pratt and it would say PR, or he would visit, let's say, Corning, and he would see CM on the piece. So if you want to tell the difference of where the piece was made, the code is actually on every single piece that he has created since the early 90s. So again, heads everywhere, the symbolism that he has used, the textures that he's used, and why is he using all these textures and these heads and these symbols? And sometimes he's forgotten the actual reason, but he's tend to just love it. And as an artist, what was the purpose at one point has changed as he is now 85 years old, and time has changed and his life has changed and his outlook has changed. So what a head meant at one time as a young artist means something completely different now to him. This was a picture of outside the glass bar by Shell Ingman that I had to show you just because it was so spectacular. This is part of the Glass Hotel. The whole bar is blue. Shell has the studio next to Bertil. He gets like one little corner to work out of, and Bertil gets the entire thing, of course. But he makes some amazing things out of that. And I had to show you just what it looked like. I mean, everything is glass. The bar is suspended on glass. You have glass cones coming down as light. The seats are glass. Everything is blue. It's like you're in the ocean. It's really quite beautiful. This is walking down the bar into the hotel. I mean, we're talking totally a glass experience. Glass is in every bedroom. Glass. If you want to get a massage, you can get a massage at the Art Hotel with one of Bertil Vallien's pieces. They literally rub one of his pieces on your back. I said, yeah, I want a massage with Bertil. I don't know what it means. So you get a massage. He's not there, but a masseuse is there with these. I got a boat. And then I got a head I'm going to rub on you. And then I got a map I'm going to rub on you. You can rub pieces on me all day. It feels great. It feels great. But anyhow, it was kind of a very magical experience that I had. And I just want to share with you a little bit about it. This is the outside of the hotel, just lit up with these panels that were designed by Bertil and the staff of Kosta Boda. This is the food that we ate. I took a picture of this. I'm going to tell you, I was there during some holiday. I don't know. It's a Swedish holiday. And there must have been 50,000 types of raw halibut. No, raw pickled herring. It was herring, pickled herring. I mean, and I don't want to be rude because I don't really know the culture yet. So I have to try a little bit of each one of them on my plate, And so I'm trying these. And the first one, I turned green after I ate the first one, and I'm like, oh God, I got like 30 more to try in front of all of these, all the president of Kosta Boda. And Kosta Boda, by the way, is a like multi-billion-dollar company. It's publicly traded on the stock. I mean, it's huge. It's not like it's some dinky little studio. It's part of a bigger brand. They do clothes, they do, they do outerwear, they do hunting stuff, they do, sports equipment. I mean, it's an enormous company. So anyhow, I'm sitting here with the president who, rarely comes to the Art Hotel. And so I'm trying to impress him through pickled herring. I don't know. But I wanted to show you a couple of images. This was a mystery meat. So it just showed up and I said, well, it's beautiful presentation. You know, like the onions look like rose petals. I just, so I wanted to show that every part of the hotel is art, from the food to the service to the people that are running it. Everything is art. This is in Boxio. So it's about 45 minutes. It's where you fly into. It's an installation that Bertil Vallien had to do. It looks like a covenant. It looks like where you get the Torah. I don't know. It's in a church, but again, I'm Jewish, so it was very foreign to me. But it was really quite stunning, and it's enormous. So it opens up and you've got these heads that are just glowing all over, but you can walk into it and around it. You're allowed to do that. And it's absolutely spectacular. But I wanted to show, this is just a crummy image of the 45 half. So here's the show. Here's the idea. He's coming from New York. The show and the exhibition is entitled Starman. Starman was found, he decided to name it himself based on David Bowie, one of his favorite all-time musicians. And just like David Bowie, Bertil will be working for the rest of his life. That's what he does. It's his passion. It was David Bowie's passion to continue to make music and make people and open people's minds to his artistry. So, Starman was perfect, a perfect homage to David Bowie. So he's coming back to New York. He started off early on as a young child, he would say, but he was in the military by horseback. He was one of the horseback. I don't know. I know they had cars, but he has this love for horses, and he was on horseback, and that was part of his position. And but he didn't carry the rifle. He didn't care about the military so much. But on the side, this is his first, his first time he was ever really exposed to his own creativity, as he had a lot of time on his hands. So he would sit at this cabin and he started to make things in snow and ice. And so he started to make ice sculpture, which is quite fascinating because glass and ice have, some very, very common commonalities to both the materials. Ice, and even though one comes from fire, the other one is also malleable. It's really quite fascinating. So his biggest inspiration out of all the inspirations in the world, he says, I'm a sailor. I'm a sailor man. I love water. He sold a sailboat, so he doesn't really sail, but he'll always continue to make boats, to have that inspiration of water. He goes into water every morning, comes out, feels like he has been baptized. He does, I don't care how warm or cold it is. It could be frigid, and it gets frigid in Sweden, let me tell you. But he submerges himself under the water and comes out and feels a part of water. And we are actually all a part of water. We're all made of 90% water. And so there is this human bond with water, but very few people take the time to really notice it. Bertil doesn't just notice it, he really embraces it. So I love this picture. I said sailor because he's got this striped shirt, and that's what I think of with the beret. He looks kind of like a sailor, but you've got the boat. And so you can see one of the inspirations in this image. Okay. So 1962, okay, is an important year for the artist. It was a very important year. So he comes to the United States in search of a gallery. He's working in ceramics, and much like Ron Arneson and Peter Volkus, which were huge part of the California contemporary funk movement of the time. And this was during the war. You got the people driving Beetles. Most people had long hair, and Bertil's work kind of fit in between the two artists. So it had the brutalist feel of Peter Volkus, yet it had that kind of tongue-in-cheek feel of Ron Arneson. And so he came to Los Angeles with his work, and he ran into this little gallery that he thought was really nice that was owned by Irving Blum, who happens to be one of the most famous and well-known art dealers in the world. And he said, gosh, this is perfect. I love this stuff. It's challenging. It's dynamic. I would love to have this work. So he gets a one-person exhibition at this gallery, okay, with these ceramic pieces. Actually, it's a two-person exhibition. It was him with the ceramic and some guy that made Campbell soup cans. Andy Warhol. And Andy Warhol. So he's got the Campbell soup can guy who brought 32 pieces. Bertil sells the entire show out. Irving's so embarrassed that he ends up just buying the 30 paintings, of Andy Warhol. He doesn't know. Andy wasn't well known at all, but he bought all the soup cans. And in 1996, he ended up, just to give you an idea, selling them to MoMA for $15 million. He bought them for $1,000. He gave $1,000. I don't know how much that is from 1962 to now, but he $1,000, 15 million. Amazing, amazing. And they ended up at MoMA. So that didn't happen with Bertil. Bertil went to Sweden. But he always says, gosh, I wish I would have stayed in LA at that time because it was so hot. And a lot of artists are making work on the east side, and galleries like his were bringing work over to the west side and selling it in LA. So they're making it, and there was really very little galleries in LA at the time. There were galleries, but not as much as New York. It wasn't it was just the beginning. And it was just the beginning for Bertil. So he comes back with success. And, fast forward, he ends up connecting with Kosta Boda and becoming one of the main designers. So here he is, making a piece, doing this wonderful process of sand casting. A lot of people believe that he invented it. And now you've got artists like Marlena Rose, and you've got other artists that are sand casting, but in all actuality, he did not invent it. It was not something that he invented. In fact, in 1979, Howard Bentray left Pilchuck, where he was making work with Chihuly, all blown, to learn how to cast work. And one of the places he went to was Kosta Boda. And Bertil was there, but he was sand casting small heads. And Bentray was so inspired by that, he went back and made the burial box, which has a dialogue between the interior and exterior of the pieces. They're very small, but they're essentially little boxes. And that kind of catapulted Howard Bentray's entire career. And that was through, of course, Dorothy Sachs, who was a huge Bentray fan, got behind Bentray and said, gosh, you're not making little pieces anymore. You're making, you're not making blown goblets. You are making real sculpture. But it wouldn't be for, if it wasn't for Bertil and Kosta Boda, this would never have happened. So it's kind of fascinating. So Regina put some images and slides together that she felt dynamic. I love this one because it looks like the head's floating. I said, how do they do that? How do they float that head? It's unbelievable. Actually, if you look very closely, it's a thin piece of wood and it comes down. But this is one of the pieces that are available, and it's a Janus head. And where does Bertil get the information for Janus? Where does he get the idea? Janus, January. It's in mythology, it was turning light to dark, dark to light. It was the transformation. And so this idea of Janus, that's where it came from, the Janus head. So it's looking forward, but it's also looking back. January, you're also looking back. So you're coming into the new year, but you're looking back. In the middle, there's almost a fourth dimension where you can see the head, on the inside. So there's this, you're in the present, you're in the future, looking for the future, but you're also remembering behind you. So I really love these. And there's very few of them that come to the United States. They usually just sell in Kosta Boda, or they're just not released. And sometimes you can get smaller ones on the production side. This is, of course, a unique or unique sculpture. This is a very new series, Beyond the Surface, but I want you to look at the texture on the surface. At first, I thought that this is what the work was about, was the surface, because the surface is adorned. It's very archaic. Sometimes there's like an empty house. It's also kind of revealing to me, all the work, because all the work is Bertil. And you might not see it at first, but when you understand the man and what he's gone through in his life, you'll understand the empty house. He's by himself, in this home, that he built with Eureka, his wife, who passed away a couple years ago. So you'll understand every piece has a purpose. Every single symbol has a purpose to it. It's not just, I'm going to throw these pieces in a piece because they look good. That is not his thing. That's never been it. He's never designed work for people. It is not what he believes in. And if he has designed work for people, he's definitely incorporated his own passion, his own purpose with the work. So I like how he incorporated this twig that he found on the ground and this red tie. I asked him about what this red rope is, and he said it's all about communication, Corey. It's all about communication from the past till the now to the future. And this red rope kind of binds us and holds us together with that memory, that journey. And so I really kind of love the work. And look at this. Again, we talked about ice. It's right here. It's right here. It's still with his work. So as a child, this is how he felt. He said, wow, this is what I'm making. When I say child, 18, as a young adult, this is what I believe in. And then somehow he transformed his original artwork into his thoughts, stuck with him for 60 years, and then of course became glass. So again, the head, the resting head, where does that come from? He was inspired by a young woman who, a story of a young woman who fell on the ice, and she went into a coma. For 30 years, she went into a coma. And when she woke up, she would see these blue, or she was explaining what happened to you. She said, I saw nothing but these blue figures. These blue figures were coming to me. And so the Rested Head became a series that Bertil has, brought and changed, and it's moved, but it'll always be that one story that he had that had moved or pushed him to create this body of work throughout his career. Again, the head, this is just a one time I was like, what is a T? What is the T? And he said, Corey, think about it. Okay. T, think. Oh, okay. But I don't know if that's what he even meant. I have no idea. So, but I have thought about it for some time, and it doesn't mean tarantula, and it doesn't mean T-Rex. These are the things that my kids would say. But I have thought about it, and it is an insight. So you're looking beyond the surface, and some of the work, that's what it's about. It's beyond this gradated surface. And, like I said, I've traveled to Sweden many times, and what I've found is people kind of wear masks, and to get to know somebody, you got to slowly pull away the mask or separate the onion skin to get to know who somebody truly is. And so people wear these masks. Maybe it's part of the culture. I'm not quite sure, or maybe it's just human interaction. But when I see the work, that's how I feel when I look at it. It's something beyond the surface. So he's letting you in, but he's not giving you the whole picture. And so, I can see the inspiration based on my own experiences when I was there, but who knows? Like I said, and times change, he changes, life changes. So again, he's starting to incorporate all these different ideas and symbolism, and this is some of the new work he was doing, these guardians, but they have moved on beyond, and he's starting to incorporate different materials like leather and wood and feather. I mean, just different materials to create these watchers, but they're not the Watcher series anymore. It's evolved beyond the Watcher because he wants the steps. He wants the symbolism, but he doesn't want to give it to you in such a way where you're shining a diamond, or creating facets and spinning something on a wheel. He doesn't want to do that. He wants you to come up with your own interpretation of what that is. And he says it doesn't have to be glass. So he's starting to that's a leather bound base right there, but he's incorporated his red He uses sometimes a red chair or red wire. Is this, that red light is a phallic symbol? I don't know. And you know what? Truthfully, I don't even know if he knows. It's like riding a bike, like how are you riding the bike? Your mind, you've learned, but you don't know what your intention is, at the time. You're just doing it. And at this time, as an artist in his life at 85 years old, sometimes he's like, well, what does it mean to you? Because to me, I'm just making it. His mind doesn't work that way. It's just processed. It happens and it's processed at this point. And so it's fascinating. Again, another beautiful resting. These images are really incredible. I love this. It's almost like a ghostly figure on the interior. And so this is one of the tour de this is one of the greatest pieces I think that he has in his exhibition. And there are a number of figures, but they're all individual. And if you remember those terracotta figures that they uncovered, well, you know what they found out about those terracotta figures? That each one of them was an individual figure. They were not multiples. They were actual people that were served under the emperor, and they were the individual people. And they found paint on one of them. They said, oh my God, they even had paint different, it's fascinating. So, he wanted to create these idolitos, these idols that they feel like they've been, buried for thousands of years and now rediscovered. But this society of people, he called it an army, and they have their backs to each other. And so they're moving away, instead of toward, and so instead of fighting, it's more about peace than anything else, but really quite extraordinary. Again, made from black glass. So this is another, again, look, it's floating. It's a magic trick. I don't know. I don't know how he did it. It's amazing. He can make things float. It's unbelievable. No, it's so you can see the image of the wood behind it, but I love these Janus heads. I have one myself. To give you an idea, I own 20 pieces by Bertil Vallien. I have 5 out in my house right now. I don't have enough room. I just keep on buying them. I love them so much that I keep on, I'm like, oh, I don't have one from this series. I don't have one yet from this series. And one time I was at Kosta Boda, and I'm there and I just went, I'm like, I love it. I could own anything, any one of these pieces. I don't care. I was like, just send me one. I'll buy it. I don't care which one. You pick, so of course you can hear the passion in my voice, but really when you see the work in person, and I'm sure a lot of you have, you would share the same passion, I feel. So here's the man working on a series called Super Egg. They're large. He just started blowing glass, and he's always blown glass. So the early pieces were blown in 1978. You can see a really great one. Bill Warmus curated he curated the exhibition, Glass Now, and it was exhibited at a number of different places, the Victoria Albert Museum, at Corning Museum, of different artists working in glass. And at the time, Bertil was not sandcasting. He was blowing work with like a Chihuly-like lip wrap, but he was cutting into the surface, sandblasting the surface with some of that same imagery that he uses today. So he's revisiting his glass blowing, but instead he's making these eggs. So the head's kind of like an egg. He's transforming that into these super eggs, and he's working with all these different colors to do so, but every one of them is just stunning. So the idea of the display would be to have them in a giant sandbox. So you would have different pieces in sand as like almost like an installation, but you could acquire one out of the sand, but really kind of interesting, because they're thinking of how to display their work. And most artists don't do that. They leave it up to the idiots or the gallerists like me. No, so the idea is that Kosta Boda is like, well, how can we make this even more interesting for people, more inviting? And so I love that idea that they had, and hopefully one day it'll come to fruition in New York. So again, another just extraordinary, beautiful image beyond the surface, even though you feel like this is more about the surface than anything. And sometimes people are. Sometimes what you get when you see people is it's just surface. And unfortunately, it's true. And so, and then again, why, what's the purpose? Well, everything has a purpose to him, but what's the purpose for you? And so you should think about that when you're looking it up, right? Oh, this deep texture. I love that, it's really, when you feel it, you can feel the sand, you can feel the earth. Again, the house. Oh, we missed it. Okay, the house. This is him and one of his Sasan, his main assistant, who virtually helps him in every single part of the process. So, I mean, truth be told, she does everything for him. Everything, from the painting to the blowing to the, and helps him with the ideas. And but she is like an incredible person, because she's basically running the entire show. And so she has to be seen, she has to be mentioned, because behind every great man, the saying. So, really truthfully, she is, the show. She doesn't like the limelight. She likes to be behind the scenes, but she is really running the show. And she's an incredible artist. That's what I can say. So again, so the super eggs. So I'm showing you work that's available, and I'm going to incorporate that also in some little clips and videos that we have, that Kosta Boda had sent regarding this exhibition. So of course, we've got a couple series of super eggs. You can see that they start very small and they get larger and larger and larger. That stem doesn't come out. It's all part of the same piece. They left the stem because they felt like it was part of the piece. Another series of different colors. I think that one in the middle, I absolutely love the little red coming out. They look like almost like planets in a way. But every one of them is different colors that they have tried out on the glass, which is really kind of incredible. So now we're going to play a little video here.
Just click on it.
How? I don't know. I plan on playing a little video. Any idea, Regina?
Yep. You just click
There's no play button for me.
here. Just hold on, Corey. Let me have the controls for 1 second.
Okay. Take them. Take you earn them. I heard if you move your mouse around really fast, it looks like a video.
Oh, this is weird.
Yeah, maybe go forward. Yeah, maybe we go forward. Hold on. Let me try. I'll go forward. See what happens. Oh, nothing happened.
It should just like play.
Okay. Well, you know what? The video was the most amazing thing you've ever seen. I'm sorry. We'll see if we can get to that. Regina's going to work on that. Some more super eggs, really quite beautiful. Look at that amber one. Really striking. Again, more, if you haven't seen these were all made this year for this particular exhibition. And Bertil's kind of winding down at this point. He likes painting. He's got a place in Stockholm. He likes to travel. He's not travel, but travel to Stockholm. And he just enjoys peace at this part of his life. And so some of these are very peaceful. Oh, another video. Okay. What can we do here?
Honestly, can you do me a favor? And then just press the space button. Maybe that
space bar? No.
So it makes it that way.
Broke the internet. It's broken. It's unfortunate because you can see the process of these particular pieces being made. So we're going to post that online at another on YouTube for you to see.
Hold on a second, Corey.
Okay. Resting heads. I just wanted to show you the different individual resting heads that are part of the exhibition. You can see some of them are restful. Some of them are not. But I told you that idea that she slipped and fell in the ice. He's been working on this series for a number of years. What's very interesting is that those floating images in there are blown, but the glass is cast. So he blows the image, it's cooled off, it's painted with a special type of paint. And then when the glass is being poured, he drops the blown element. He heats it up and drops the blown element into the sand casting. Okay, it's really fascinating. And these are actually made in two pieces that are brought together and glued. You don't see the glue mark because the glue is called Hextol. It's nearly invisible to the eye. It's stronger than any glue that anybody uses, but NASA uses it in their space program. I mean, it's spectacular, but that's how they are created. And it's really quite fascinating. Then he polishes a little part of it so you can look within. Abstract head. So this is, now we're getting into something completely different. There's a small veil of a head, possibly, possibly. Does the shape of a head make a head? Like, what makes a head a head? And so if you look beyond the surface on these, there's a small little veiling that goes, that's there, in existence, but you don't know if it's really a face or a head. So now I'm going back to the people in Sweden wearing the masks, like I said, and that's actually everywhere that you go, people have these masks. Here you have an insight into who they are, but who are they really? What is this veiling? Who really, so it's a nice exploration. I like where it's going. Oh, this is the best video, Regina. Oh gosh.
Do you mind if I just take over the controls for a quick second?
Oh yeah, of course. You are in control.
Or maybe I could end the the PowerPoint and then restart it, and then maybe they'll play there.
Okay, yeah, because in the minutes it's not too long, but it's.
I'll go through it, and then towards the end I'll just start playing the videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. But okay. So there's two Janus heads available. I was calling it Janusz heads because of Janusz Valentinovic for years. Like, Janusz head. No, that's not the case. It's a Janus head. Janus grande, because there are large heads, because it's hard to tell the scale and size of these things. The dimensions are on there, but again, I can peer into the surface. These hidden code 1 and 2. So I asked him one time, I said, Bertil, tell me about like some of this stuff. Like, what is that? He says, well, the X always kind of marks the spot. He says, Corey, you tell me, what are stairs? Where are we going? I leave stairs everywhere. Are we going up? Are we going down? Are we going up in life to the heavens? Are we going down into the dirt? I said, well, that's kind of depressing. Where are you going? You're always going somewhere, some type of journey, some type of trek. And stairs is the perfect symbol of that. In life, are we climbing? Are we going down? Where are you in life right now? And so I think the stairs is one of the greatest symbols that he uses. The boat is about journey, some of these symbols that, we know the face, we talked about the face, we talked about the head. Sometimes there's a key in there. He's always looking for something, a map, it's a code to a hidden treasure somewhere, maybe our own self that we're trying to examine. And so these symbols are very significant to him, but it's really about the journey of his own life, and which I think is just absolutely fascinating. These are those beyond the surface. Again, the empty home. I asked him, I said, I really love that tree. He goes, Corey, it's not a tree, it's an antenna. I said, it's an antenna? He says, yes, it's about communication. My work is about communication with the future and the past. It's about communication with the now. And what I love about the one on the right is that those are the red barns that I was passing by. I said, oh, moose, snow, tree, Red Barn, you know, as I'm driving down to Copenhagen to see him. So I thought that was really, really quite fascinating. So they really are what you see and what you know, and which I'm finding more and more that artists are inspired by their environments. Oh, this is the best video. No, I'm kidding.
Every other time. This
I'm
one.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. So, again, so a couple more. The source, fragile crust. This is about the fragility of Earth, the fragility of where he lives. Everything is fragile. It's not sustainable. But I love the one on the left. Look at the source. When I was in Greece, I remember it was fascinating. They were cutting part of was Athens, which is the least part of the trip that I enjoyed, but I did learn something. They were cutting away part of the city because they discovered a new civilization underneath the civilization. So there was like 3 civilizations, like ours was the gelato store. That represents us, gelato. And then there was another civilization, and under that there was a civilization. So they found like a new civilization in Athens. And our guide told me, he said, you know what? If somebody finds something underneath when they're digging for a home or a villa or a company, they bury it back up. And I said, why would they do that? He said, because then the government can take that piece of property that you own, and then they own it, just right out of the, they own it. And so they'll quarantine it off, and they start to excavate. And so that rarely happens that you will see, much more modern excavation, even though they're, civilization built on top of civilization, built on top of, how many civilizations down there are there to be discovered. So I love this, where you can see this little gold head coming out of the surface. It just reminds me of that. And then here are, even though it's broken into 2 pieces, enactment A and enactment B, it's all one enactment. So it's all one. It should have been all one piece. And according to them, that's what their idea was. But they, the marketing genius over there said, we got to separate these. That price is too expensive. I said, yeah, but that's not what the artist wanted. That's not what the artist, wanted. He wanted the idea of that it was a war, and they're, separating. It's about peace, and so, I don't know, but really, I think just an amazing image. So now we're at what he's most known for, and what's really put him on the global map, are these ships, these boats. And I want you to look at these 2 very closely, because you've seen them at the gallery for years. Notice how the tip of the boat is clear. Well, it's about the future. The future is kind of unknown. And then the back of the boat, it's kind of murky. So the memory is not quite, we don't know. I can't remember, I don't even know what I ate last night, to be honest with you. But the middle of the boat's riddled with information. So the now keeps you fresh. And then again, the antenna, which is on the top and front of the boat and entitled Equilibrium, is communicating the future or the now with the past. And the fact that they incorporated the Janus head in this is really amazing too, because the whole story is being told on Equilibrium. Builder's really kind of a magnificent sculpture as well. I love those ambers, but in terms of the coloration, but it's hard to see what's on the interior of these. But like I mentioned, once you start looking in, the symbolism makes sense. The stairs make sense. They have a similar story to the ladder that he uses. The X, sometimes there's sarcophaguses. Sometimes there's like I said, hidden keys. Sometimes there's stars, like Starman. Sometimes there's imagery in there. Most of it has to do with trying to find something, and whether it's a lost loved one or a soul or yourself. It's the journey of life. And so I, again, love the artist, love the work. And this is the preview of the entire exhibition that's going to be shown in New York coming up. I don't have the date, but coming up. So I wanted to bring it to you during this Zoom. So thank you for participating and listening to me talk nonstop. I appreciate all of you. And if you're interested in any work, please contact Aaron, or any questions. You can always contact me as well. So, or Regina at the gallery. Thank you so much for participating.
Beautiful. Shall I try to see if I can?
Yeah,
get-
let's try. We're gonna try a couple videos and see if we can just
Let me
play
just
these 3
go down.
videos for you, just because they're kind of cool, you know. So stick around for a little bit. Let her do her magic here.
Come on.
Do you have them on YouTube, or you have them in your email?
I do. Let me just actually just exit out here.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That's the best picture right there.
That's only the best one I looked good in. I didn't really care if you looked. It's really populate here. I do have them on YouTube, which I could go right into here.
So if anybody's interested in going to Sweden with me and visiting Bertil, like I said, there isn't much. I'm telling you right now that it's a life-changing experience. It's fun. And if we're lucky and we get there at a certain time, we might even be able to see the Northern Lights, which is really amazing. And just to the north, there's actually just an all ice hotel. So if we want to really plan it together, we would stop by Kosta Boda. We go stay at the ice hotel, because I've never done that. And I think it'd be a really wonderful experience of food.
I have to get the team together before we.
Let's replay here. There you go.
I have to get the team together before we start and tell them what I want, and I want them to be at their best. We've been working together for so long. Everybody knows by now what to do, but I do know the capacity of each individual, so I know that they are at the right position.
That's the first one. And now we've got this one.
There must be a way beyond the traditional ways of. There must be a way beyond the traditional ways of working glass. Sand that has been used for casting metal for thousands of years. To be able to use my hands, to use my fingers, to be free. I don't think I would work with glass without having discovered this possibility of casting in sand.
There's that one. We got a couple more here.
So he went from a minimalist to a maximalist. That's the.
There is constantly things to discover.
I love that. I believe we just seen this one though, or maybe not.
There is constantly things to discover. That's the essence of life. It's not like a joyful thing. It's something you have to do. When you started something and you did dare to start it and you can see it's leading somewhere, that's a very nice feeling.
So wait, I gotta say, that is not Kosta Boda. So that's another part of the journey we can take. That is a museum that is about 2 hours, I think, from Kosta Boda. And it's also in Sweden, and it's owned by Hampus, which is the son of Bertil, and it's dedicated to him and Ulrika, his mother. And then they have really wonderful exhibitions. They brought in Barry Friedman to do a chair exhibition, modern chair exhibition. But the background, that's a museum that I had visited, that again, there's always work out on display because it's literally a Bertil Vallien museum. So he could take his work and just change it any way he wants. And he's constantly going there to see his son. And but he doesn't make the work there, he just displays it there. I mean, imagine having your own museum. It's really kind of incredible.
There is constantly things to discover. That's the essence of life. It's not like a joyful thing. It's something.
The ceramic works.
When you started something and you did dare to start it and you can see it's leading somewhere, that's a very nice feeling.
Okay, and I got one one more for you guys.
You guys are being great. Thank you so much. We love you all.
This one's pretty cool. I love this one.
Tell me what fuels your imagination.
The minimalists.
Would you care to elaborate?
I surprise myself by always being fascinated by people that work in a very minimalistic way, because it triggers my fantasy. It kind of goes beyond the actual words to describe something. And I want to become a minimalist when I get older, but I'm not. I went to College of Art and Design in Stockholm. We had short classes in glass design. Twice a year, the whole class went down to the kingdom of glass. There were 30 glass factories down here. It was a dream to get an offer to work for a glass factory. During one of those visits, one of the very well-known designers asked if I could become his assistant. So that's how it started. And then I started to experiment. There must be a way beyond the traditional ways of working glass. And I thought, sand, that has been used for casting metal for thousands of years. It was such a discovery to be able to be free with the material, to use my hands, to use my fingers. I don't think I would work with glass without having discovered this possibility of casting in sand. I must say that my priority has always been to design for the factory, not to express myself. We've been working together for so long, everybody knows by now what to do, but I do know the capacity of each individual, so I know that they are at the right position. I have to get the team together before we start and tell them what I want, and I want them to be really at their best. But also I want to create a feeling of competition without actually pushing them, give them a goal, to make the biggest one.
I love that. Around the storytelling of your vessels.
The ships. Oh, no, they're different. They're all about finding out what's going on beyond the horizon. You see, I hate glass in a way, and I hate the beauty of it. I hate when it becomes like jewelry, seductively immediate, because ugly is more interesting than beauty. I like what's behind the surface, inside the glass, and the fact that those stories are gone forever.
Talk a little bit about these underworlds.
We are so fascinated by space. Spend so much money in order to get people out to Mars or other planets, but we know so little about what's going on in the water. So those blocks has become a way to describe what a fragile surface we actually live on without knowing the wonders or the danger that's going on in the deep waters. I want to make that thin surface that we live on scary. It kind of is starting to fall apart or fall into destruction. Actually, they're very political, those pieces, but beautiful. There is constantly things to discover. That's the essence of life, to explore and see if it works or not. It's like food. It's not like a joyful thing. It's something you have to do. That's the greatest satisfaction I could feel, when you've started something and you did dare to start it and you can see it's leading somewhere. That's a very nice feeling.
And those are all of them.
Thank you, Regina. That was needed. It was much needed. I can only go so far. It's really to hear the artist's voice and understand, him. And one of those things, he was talking about his hands. And I remember, visiting him in Sweden. The first thing I felt, even though I'm 40 years younger than him, I felt like a little boy, because his hands, he's the hands of an artist. They were mittens, and they were calloused on top of callus, but they were big and burly, and he constantly uses them. And so, he uses them to communicate, uses them to talk, but they were like, abnormally large, and you can just tell a man by his hands, tell anyone by their hands, really. And so it was kind of fascinating. Thank you. If you guys have any questions, now would be the time. Regina can unmute you.
Any questions?
We'll give it about 10 seconds.
All right, then other than that,
Great. Well, I guess you guys know everything now. I don't.
Well, thank you, Regina, for continuing to attempt to get those videos up. Thank
oh,
you.
I got them. I knew I was going to get them some way or another, so no worries. And those are all on our
Hooray.
channel as well if you'd like to watch them again. They are on our YouTube channel, as well as this one will be on our YouTube channel. So you'd like to replay it, you are more than happy to. Other than that, I really do hope that we see you at our future Zooms as well. So next Saturday. And if you're in the Metro Detroit area, we hope to see you, and hopefully you stop in, say hi, come look at the amazing artwork of all of our amazing artists that continue to create artwork for us. So thank you again for spending your amazing Saturday time with us. We truly appreciate it and are so grateful of your contribution. So we'll see you guys next Saturday.